Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I would like to give the floor to Mr. Sodhi, who is Managing Director of Amul, which is the most important cooperative in India. He will be speaking of India, which is really a very growing emerging country. So the perspective of Amul. Mr. Sodhi is one of Klal friends. He will always be invited by Klal. They come here at least as friends of Klal. They will always be our guests during these forums. We want them to be here with us. Thank you very much, Sodhi, for being here this year as well.
First of all, I thank the Klal team and Angelo for giving me this opportunity. And I think after such a delicious lunch, listening and speaking is little problematic. But don't worry, I'll also provide you more or less equally tasty food. So get ready. See, next 20 minutes, I'll be giving you just a presentation on how India has become not only self-sufficient in dairy needs. You see, I've started with self-sufficiency with a very particular meaning and purpose for that, which I'll explain you. How India has become not only self-sufficient, but also world's largest producer of milk and also world's largest market of world. And till 70s, we were a deficit country like our other Asian counterparts. We were importing from all over world. But last 40, 50 years, we have grown, and all this lot of technology, help, infrastructure, knowledge we have got from the European Union, and we are thankful to that. And also, I like to tell you what our future holds for us, what are the challenges, and also I'll also talk what are the opportunities available in India and dairy industry for the European or other world's best dairy manufacturers or processors or equipment suppliers or the knowledge people. Just a glimpse of what is happening in the world dairy industry is growing at a 2.2% per annum, mainly because of more production in Asian countries. India is world's largest producer with 140 million metric ton per day, which is 17% of global milk production, and we are growing at the rate of 4.5%. India is also world's largest market of milk and milk product in the world. If you see the countries which are the deficit country, which are the surplus country, red with deficit, green with the surplus, India is self-sufficient. Neither we have got surplus nor we have got deficit. Once in 2-3 years we have got a little bit extra, we export. Once in 2-3 years we have got deficit, we import. And advantage is that if you see, India is also among the country which is growing at very, very fast pace, around 4.5% per annum. And if every year, if you see we add around 5.5 million metric tons of milk products every day. And per capita availability also in India is growing. It is 123 kgs per day. Only 45 years back, it was 1/3 of this. In 45 years, our per capita milk availability has increased 3 times. And future also, the way we are growing, I think demand for milk and milk products is going to grow in India. Percentage of dairy sector, more than 70% of India's population live in the villages. So in India, 4% is among the people who are dependent on dairy sector in agriculture production. But India is a country of very, very small farms. Average, if you see, per dairy farmer, number of cow or buffalo is 1.6 animals per person. Only each household is having one or two cows or buffalo. And if you see, India, 48% people have got less than 1 or 2, and 86% family has got less than 10 cows. And Cost of milk production in India is also compared to other countries very low. We are more or less equal to New Zealand or Australia. And India's production model is very, very low input and very, very low output. We feed to the animals what is left over after the human eating. We do not have too much of land. Basically, land is used for growing cereals for the human consumption. In between the two seasons, we may grow little green fodder, or we give concentrated food, concentrated feed. I think I will not talk too much about supply side scenario, what is happening today. You all are aware, you are the expert. But I'll just show you this, what last 3 years, what is the farm gate prices. This will tell you a lot of story. If you talk about New Zealand, farm gate prices are reducing. I don't know how much it will reduce further, 44, 16 and 32 cents. Australia also is reducing. Europe, you all are aware, last year 61 to 38. USA also, but India, it's growing. We are continuously, farm gate price in India is growing in spite of whatever crisis or slackness or the volatility in prices are there. Demand side scenario, what is happening in the all over world demand, you are aware, but I'll only like to add one thing, that in India or especially in Asia, income levels are growing and prosperity is growing. People are consuming more and more milk and milk products, especially a country like India where it is mainly 50% is vegetarian. And any branded packed dairy product is growing at the rate of around 10% volume basis every year. So, and that too at a very large base. And this is just a regional demand trend all over what you can see. What is the demand and what is the supply growth in each region. India's demand is growing at the rate of 10%, supply is also the rate of 7%, but with the what we expect is with the very encouraging prices what we pay to the farmers, we'll be able to match the demand. Market size versus growth forecast issues, Indian subcontinent has maximum market size also and also great growth prospects. And we are more or less balanced, as I mentioned earlier. We do not have neither surplus or deficit. India is a huge market of now, I can say, 1.25 billion people. And our population in the next 50 years will increase to 1.7 billion. Out of the 9 billion people who will be on this earth, 1.7 billion people in India. So that is the market, biggest market for dairy products in the world. And India's consuming class is growing. It was 26% 2003, which has become now 54%. India is a very, very young country. 70% people are less than the age of 35 years. And there is consuming class for branded and milk products. Indian food trends are changing. People are getting more money. They are spending more. They are demanding more functional food. Retail and private trade is growing. So demand for branded milk products and tasty and nutrition product is going to grow and grow. Food accounts for 31% of average household expenditure. Morning we heard that in Egypt it is 51%. In India it is 31%. Out of that, dairy is around 16-17%. India is a very diverse country, but if we divide India into 4 parts, in all the parts, if you see whether we talk about north or south, milk is consumed right from morning breakfast to the night dessert. All meals, milk or milk products are there. This is just showing how milk is used in the south of India, north of India. All dishes are different, but milk is a part of that. East India and western part from where I have come. This is how milk and milk products are sold. Basically, a typical retail outlet, there are more than 1 million outlets selling milk products in India like this. These are the typical shop selling all food products. And this is the way milk is sold. Early morning, 2 hours. And this on the roadside, 2 hours, either consumer are coming and buying it, or milk is delivered at home in pouches. And this model, because of this practically very low overhead milk retail. A retailer is selling liquid milk at the margin of 2 to 3%. The whole supply chain margin in India for fresh milk is 5%. I mean, if we, from X factory, if we bill at $1, consumer is buying at 1.05. So that is the efficiency in the supply chain which we have got in India. Just say. And modern retail is also gearing up. They have got now around 7% of the business, and 93% is a traditional retail. Modern retail is finding it very difficult because of very low margin what traditional retail is enjoying. India loves milk, so around 16 to 19% is the total food expenses. India, for Indians, milk or milk products are not new. I mean, from centuries, we have been consuming. Even our God, if you see Krishna, he was a milkman. He was grazing cow, and he was eating lot of butter. In all our religious rituals or any ceremony, milk is used. This is very important slide. World production is 770 metric ton. India is 140, around 17%. But organized sector is only 24 million, which is 17% of India's production. And Amul, which is number one brand in India, we have got only 5.7 million metric ton, which is 24% or 1/4 of the organized sector. Here is the opportunity for any manufacturer, whether from Europe or anybody, come to India, invest in Indian dairy industry, and try to expand it. Because still, organized sector is 24%. Milk is there, consumers are there, demand is growing. What is required is people have to come and invest in expanding the categories, expanding the market, bringing their infrastructure, bringing their finance, bringing their knowledge, and expanding the market. This is the one area. Out of the total 140, 50%, 50 million metric ton is retained by the producer, and remaining is marketed through organized or unorganized sector in various product categories. Milk is the largest crop in India. Its turnover is around $56 billion. It is more than the combined turnover of rice and wheat. In India, whatever milk we get, 60% is or 55% is from buffalo milk, and balance is from cow. And total milk animal population is 300 million. So because of our model of very low input and very low output, average productivity of a cow is around 3 liters, and average productivity of buffalo is 4.5. And average, we have got 7 to 8% of cross Holstein Friesian, and their average productivity is around 10 liters. India has got the highest buffalo. After us is Pakistan. And India accounts for 87% of global production on buffalo milk. These are just the state-wise. India has got 33 states. I represent a cooperative from Gujarat, which is number 4. Because of cooperative model, we are number 1 company, but Gujarat milk production is number 4 in India. This is just a market size of major dairy products in the organized dairy sector. Maximum selling is pouch. In India, pouch milk, fresh milk is sold in the pouch form. I showed you the picture also. Like Amul, we daily sell around 20 million pouches per day of milk, every day, in various cities of India. And then is clarified butter, infant milk food, pouch buttermilk. These are the various products which are sold. Total size is around 18 billion per annum dollars. But we were not like this. 60 years back, we were like other Asian countries, dependent on imports, not good quality of milk is available. And in 1946, when Britishers were ruling India, that time a cooperative society was formed because farmers were exploited by the private milk processor. And we could get a very dedicated self-leadership and professional like Dr. Kurian. And it has become a very big cooperative. Started in 1946 from 250 liters of milk. that too only from 2 small villages. And we started selling milk to a near market like Mumbai, a 400 kilometer transporting milk in a railway wagons, and then using the rail transport system, and then also making value-added products. First time milk powder was made out of buffalo milk. And then later on we acquiring latest technology from the European Union and other thing. And then investing in technology for extended shelf life products. And expanded our portfolio. Every 10 years, new products were added. And now, if you see, we have got all categories. We are present in all categories of dairy products. And portfolio touching whole human life cycle of any human being. If today you see, it's a 4.6 billion organization, Amul. Started with 250 liters of milk per day. It is now 19 million liters of milk per day. And it is basically owned by a very vulnerable section, about 3.6 million families of a Gujarat state. Our membership is 3.6 million farmers. And got number of awards. We are also India's biggest food brand, Amul. We own the biggest food brand. This brand is owned by 3.6 million farmers. And this cow to consumer whole supply chain is owned by the farmers. The biggest, in what way we are different than the other cooperatives are, that whatever milk we collect from 3.6 million farmers, all is marketed under a packed and branded form only. We are not dependent too much on commodity. Whatever milk we procure, 95% milk is sold in branded packed form. Only 5% is converted into commodities. That too, majority is used for during summer, little bit we selling. That's why our farmers are not exposed to volatility in the pricing, whether in Indian market or in the international market. Now, these are just a few pictures of a farmer who are being trained regularly. Basically, in India, dairy industry or milk industry is in hands of the women only. I mean, because 70% are landless farmers who are having 1 or 2 animals. The man will be working in labor in some field. A lady will be taking care of the animal at home. And from all religious segments, these are the local breed, Kankraj. I mean, like this, there are 3.6 million farmers. Twice in a day, they are bringing milk to the 17,000 village cooperative society. This is a typical scene of village cooperative society where milk is tested every time and payment is made on quality and weight basis, and all electronic systems are there, computers are there, and mainly managed by the women only, you can see. This is just one picture of buffalo. And how much farmer earns in this? If you see, average, if the fellow is having HF cow and giving 10 liters of milk, he'll be earning totally around $1,300 in a year. And what are the expenses on cattle feed and green fodder, dry fodder, veterinary service, and also loan repayment? Because if the fellow has taken cow from the bank, taking loan from the bank and invested around 1,000 or 1,200 rupees, $1,200 on HF, so he has to pay the loan also. So total expenses around $918. So total income per cow or per buffalo any farmer is earning is $1. And if a family is having 2 animals and earning $2 in a village where husband is working as a daily wage in the field, this income is sufficient. As far as Amul is concerned, we have got 58 plants, and last year average was 15.6 million liters milk, and drying capacity of 770 million tons or metric tons per day. And we do provide concentrated cattle feed to our farmers, daily producing more than 6,000 metric ton. And as per IFC, and we are number 15, I think in next year we may become 12 or 13. And like any other cooperative where masses are involved both the side, these are our basic business philosophy. Value for many, that is to 3.6 million farmers, and value for money, that millions of our consumers to whom we are selling value for money products. And basically, whatever money we are realizing, whatever remuneration we are realizing, it is going to the farmers members only. And there are 18 million people dependent on this milk income. And daily $12.5 million are given in cash form to our members. And they are acquiring a lot of, it has improved people not going to the cities and working in the factories. And it has really empowered the women in the villages. This is the distribution highway. We are present through all distribution highway, you know, whether frozen, chilled, ambient or fresh, about 1 million retail outlets. Leadership in supply chain, where millions of transactions are there. We start with 7.2 million transactions every day. When we collect milk from 3.6 with more than 18,000 village cooperative societies, thousands of trucks transporting milk. And this is because of supply chain efficiency in India in milk, 80 to 86% goes to the farmer. It is much more than any other agriculture commodity. And if you compare in other parts of the world also, I mean, the figure which we have got, USA, farmers get around 38% of what consumer pay in the city for a liter of milk. And in Europe or UK, it is around 36 to 40%. In India, it is 80 to 86%. This is very important. I think this will answer a few of the questions which I asked in the phone-in session. If you see how much price, if you in paying most remunerative price, we have grown at a rate of 12% per annum price increase. You see, every year there has been increase in the price paid to the farmer. It's in US dollar. There has been very steady increase. You will not find any volatility in this. And if you now see the next graph, this has resulted into continuous increase in production and procurement. And that is why I've been saying that if small millions of farmers are there, they cannot be faced with volatility in the price. I mean, they do not have funds, they don't have infrastructure that today if prices like New Zealand, if we start paying half the price to these farmers, they all will sell their animals. They'll go out of animal husbandry. And India will be out of milk production and they will depend upon imports then. That's why we always ensure that we protect Indian dairy industry. When we say Indian dairy industry, we are talking about millions and millions of small milk producers. They cannot fight big farmers or do not have capability, do not have infrastructure to face the volatility of what world dairy farmers are facing today. And this model was replicated all over India also. Amul started in 46, in 70 to 96, with the help of European Union, when European Union have with mountains of butter and powder, which was donated to India government, and Indian government with the advice of Dr. Verghese Kurian, monetized these free gift commodities and used that money for building dairy infrastructure. And after that, India became number one in the world. So all if India is number one, it is all because of the help of European Union. And you can see here, till 70s we were producing around 70 to 20 million metric ton, but from when Operation Flood 1, 2, 3 started, how our milk production increased because of Operation this replication of Amul model all over India. You see, in 1951, USA was 53 million metric ton, India was 17. Today, in 2013, India 140 and USA 91. And how in spite of increase in population by 3 times, our per capita availability also increased from 111 gram per person to 317. And thanks to this, our life expectancy increased from 32 to 67. Death rate has fallen down, malnutrition in children reduced, and mortality rate among the children below 5 years also reduced. And then this all has been done with a lot of value addition. I mean, this is the product which we sell maximum, milk in pouches. And all these are just picture of various product categories. And about when 10, 12 years back, big retail chains were entering India, we thought of reaching directly to the consumer because to protect our margins. So we started our own retail chain, more than 8,000 retail outlets we have got. And then right from beginning in 50s, emphasis was given on branding and marketing instead of going for commodity marketing. And these are some advertising campaign of 1950s when no Indian brand used to be advertised. And whatever, I mean, this is the biggest, longest running campaign, more than 50 years. This is our campaign on the hoarding, which we are running across India, which is on the paper, newspaper also. And this is our brand, some book is also then brand mascot. And what we have followed is to reduce our expensive advertising. We have always used umbrella brand, that is Amul. All our products will have Amul brand name only, so that we invest minimum. And we always follow our positioning statement, Amul, Taste of India. And now we are promoting milk, eat milk with every meal, just to improve or increase the consumption. Digital marketing and all whole system, we have got on SAP, where we are connecting cow to the consumer. Something on, because Angelo asked me to add something on butter. Butter basically in India is used along with other spreads, but now new spreads are also coming, emerging spreads, but mainly it is butter, cheese and other Indian spreads. And if you see among the branded package spread, butter has got a maximum penetration of 79%. And mainly it is in the metro, but now in the smaller tier 2, tier 3 cities also, consumption of butter is increasing in all SEC segments. And mainly butter in India is used for breakfast. But now butter is also used with the Indian bread for the meals also. Amul has got the biggest market share in butter. We enjoy around 90% market share in butter market in India. So what does future hold for India is what we expect that by 2020 India will be producing 180 million metric ton. But if you convert this 180 million metric ton to cow milk, it will be more than 240 because 60% is buffalo milk, which has got 50% more milk solids. Anything we think, anything we plan, whether signing free trade agreement with the European Union or with the New Zealand or with Australia or allowing free imports, we have to see who are our stakeholders of dairy industry. We have got million and million of small producers, million of poor farmers, and also very low middle income customers who are looking for nutritive, tasty products, but value for money. So our whole dairy industry strategy has been how to protect the interest of millions of milk producers and billions of consumers. And I think dairy trade of India, where current situation you all are aware, so I'll not like to add, but I like to give you example of edible oil. In 90s also with lot of lobbying, India allowed free import of edible oil. India was dependent only 5% import of edible oil. Today, India imports around 40% of their requirement edible oil, around 1 million tons every month. Because no farmer is interested in producing edible oil. Prices are, they don't know what to do. So what we are saying that whatever model, I like just to briefly tell you, what we achieved in India, self-sufficiency of world largest producer of milk, by protecting the interest of the millions of Indian milk producers. We like to continue with the same strategy. We like to continue how to encourage small producer day after day that they produce more, they invest more in animals, and that can only be possible if they are certain about how much price they are going to realize if they invest in animal husbandry. They cannot afford uncertainty in their business. They cannot afford exposing themselves to the world trade prices. They cannot expose themselves. If China reduces their purchase, and Indian farmers gets half the price of the milk that they cannot afford. So that is why we always advocate that Indian dairy industry is for the small people, very millions, and we have to see whether we should protect the interest of the millions of farmers or billions of consumers, or look into the interest of few thousand farmers of rich countries. So this is just a projected growth next 50 years. India's no doubt today is 300 gram, but a day will come the way our prosperity is increasing, we may become equal to other developed countries, around 800 gram per person. Then we'll be requiring 500 million metric ton. And that is possible to produce. And now a lot of innovations are taking place. Young, educated offspring, sons or daughters of farmers, they are going for commercial dairy farming. And this is just a term. But we, like any other cooperative, like any other world, our challenges are also same. First is productivity enhancement, because productivity in India is very low. Then next is motivating next generation of farmers to remain in dairy industry because they like to go and work in the nearest city in a factory. And third challenge, which is there for any cooperative, is how to get selfless, dedicated leadership and committed professional to work for the cooperatives. And this is a finally quote from our founder chairman, Dr. Varghese Kurian. So while concluding, I'd like to again urge that Indian dairy industry is growing. Let it grow the way it is growing. We welcome all the investments. We welcome all the knowledge coming to India and helping us to grow much faster pace. But we like to grow the way it is growing presently. Thank you very much.
Grazie a Mr. Sodi. Immagino che ci siano abbastanza domande, quindi io lascio la...
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Sodi. I think there are questions from the floor, so I'll leave the floor up to you.
Se nessuno interviene a questo punto lo...
Now, if there are no questions from the floor, perhaps I'd like to ask a question to you, Mr. Sodi. Now, Mr. Biella today in his presentation said that in developing countries there is a problem of food safety, or the people are concerned about food safety. What are you doing to improve food safety in India? And then in your country, in your presentation, you said that you need to guarantee stability of prices to farmers, otherwise they will sell the animals. How do you do that?
While talking about food safety, there is a food law in India, and all food company has to abide by the food standards. And now Indian dairy products or food products are exported all over world, including USA. So we follow the highest standards of food laws. So absolutely that is not a problem. And I think milk and milk products is not such a cumbersome or complicated product. It's a very easy. Every house lady knows how to make butter or cheese or yogurts. So it's not a very difficult product. We sometimes try to make it is a very complicated by giving a lot of scientific names. As far as the second part of your question is how to ensure that farmers do not sell their animals and continuing dairying, that is only and only possible if you give them remunerative prices. The cost of milk production is not reducing. So you have to see how every day you can give them better price. And that is only possible by providing them market access. And by providing market access, you can provide them very stable and remunerative price. You see, for any agriculture produce, if you want producer to continue producing that agriculture produce, one has to ensure stable and remunerative. Then only that category can grow and all the stakeholders will be happy, whether it's the producer or processor or the marketer.
Ci sono domande? Sì.
Are there any questions? Yes, I think there is a question there.
It's Gomez. I belong to the Italian association of trading in dairy sector. Now, just mine is just not a question, it's a kind of pop curiosity. How happened at the end of productivity of the cow? I mean, are your members, are your producer entitled to slaughter them, or the buffalo and the buffalo have the same position in your religion vis-a-vis of cows? Thank you.
Very interesting question. I think, let me.
Beh, domande interessanti.
Yeah, in Hindu religion, cow is considered as a mother, right from so many centuries. So when they keep cow, they consider it as a mother. They love the animal like mother, feed like a mother. And when cow stops giving milk, they don't give it to slaughterhouses. They keep it. Or there are number of shelter houses where people donate money to keep hundreds and thousands of cows to feed them. In India, most of the states now, cow slaughter is banned. It's a religious belief. And it's not only the milk which is used, a cow, lot of medicinal products are being made and sold in a branded form out of cow urine or cow dung. So cow is considered a very, very holy animal in India, but not buffalo. Buffalo is going to slaughterhouses.
Francis Reid.
Mr. Sodhi, what a fantastic
Signor Sodi, complimenti per questa presentazione assolutamente.
congratulations to you. I couldn't help noticing on one of the slides from the 1950s or 60s that there were railway carriages that said on the side of them, "Gift from the New Zealand government."
Yes.
And I think this is very interesting because New Zealand and India both share the history of being part of the British Empire and having to adjust to life after that. For India, that was about taking control of your destiny and making sure that farmers were getting a fair price for your milk. And for New Zealand, that was about exporting and finding new markets when Britain left and joined the European Union. So my question is, I know that you believe in protectionism and you know that I believe in free trade, and I don't think we're ever going to convince the other that we are right. But I would like to know a little bit more about the fear that you have of free trade agreements, because the Indian dairy market is 140 billion litres, as you said, today, and has huge potential to grow. And the entire traded portion of the market, the 8% that crosses borders, is in fact smaller than India's consumption. So even if all of the exports in the world were to go to just one country, India, we still wouldn't meet your needs. So is that trade, if India was to open up something that would actually increase per capita consumption and grow the market? And what is your real fear? I just want to understand.
I think it's a very, very good question. And let me tell you, in the forenoon session, you said market has declined by half because Russia and China reduced purchases. And if you see, total purchase of Russia and China put together is only 2% of world production. If 2% can impact the world milk prices to the farmers so much, imagine if 5 or 6 million metric ton goes to India. It is, in world trade, it is the sentiments. Neither consumption has reduced nor production has increased. It is the sentiments. If today, I'll give you example. Today, in India, skim milk powder prices are $3,500 metric ton, dollars per metric ton. If free trade is allowed and powders, people start importing powder at $2,000 per metric ton, do you think anybody will be able to sell at 3,500 in India? We also have to sell at 2,000. So what will happen? We will reduce price being paid to the farmer by 40%. Because whatever milk is coming to us, we will not wait that let New Zealand finish their powder, then we'll sell. Even 2% if you import everybody will reduce the price. And farmers will get 40% lower price. So what farmer will do? They will not invest in animals. They'll sell their animals. They'll keep here and there. Then we'll permanently dependent on imports, but we were there before 70s. So this strategy, what you are saying is arithmetically is good. What will happen to 5 or 6 when we are consuming? But logically, example is before you. There is an example before you. What is happening today?
Buongiorno, io sono dal 1990.
Good afternoon. Since 1990, I have been traveling to India, a country I love. And in these 25 years, well, this has been 25 years for me, but 250 years for India, because the growth rate in India is really amazing. In these 25 years, they have transformed. In 1969, an Italian writer, Mr. Pasolini, spoke about 400 million Indians. Now it's 1.2, 1.3 billion Indians. And on top of that, I have seen Amul products, and I've seen that the quality has grown unbelievably. I focus on quality in my company. And on top of that, your cows are holy. So I would love to produce some holy cheese in my country, holy provolone. And let me conclude by quoting Gandhi. The day will come when every Indian will have a plate of rice. Today we have 1.3 million plates of rice, but on top of that, the Indians have got also milk.
Sir, for sharing your experience and the very optimistic picture about India. And you are right. Let me also tell you, when I said there is opportunity for everybody, I'm not saying there is opportunity for very premium value-added products which no manufacturer in India is producing. But like I said, you are welcome to come to India and invest in dairy industry. There is scope. If you are not growing here or anywhere else, you come in India, you will grow. Because market is doing, I give you example of our company. Last 5 years, our average growth is 21-22%. And milk is the limit. We could have grown at much faster pace, but milk is the constraint. And we are a state cooperative. So opportunity is there, but don't look only that import is the only way to grow. You can encourage local production, local manufacturing, local marketing, and your balance sheet will grow.
È possibile investire anche in genomica?
It is also possible to invest in genomics. We spoke about genetics and genomics to improve production. What do you think about that? So before we were talking about genetics and genomics to improve animal production. The Italian Association of Farmers is very strong in this respect. I believe they are amongst the best worldwide. Do you accept this? Do you accept this kind of know-how coming from genetics and from the Italian Farmers Association?
To meet the increasing demand of milk, I showed you what way it is growing. And now Government of India is working on a program which is called National Dairy Plan, and the National Dairy Development Board is implementing it, and it has got only two objectives: productivity improvement, and productivity improvement through better feeding practices and better breeding practices. Under better breeding practices, lot of this on the genetics, lot of animals, bulls, a lot of quantity of semen is being imported to improve the genetics of our animal, to improve the productivity. So there is a lot of opportunity. In genetics, lot of improvement. In feeding also, India is short of fodder or dry grass. If any country has got grass, we can import that and we can convert into milk. We have got machines to convert into milk.
Molto bene. Io se non ci sono domande ringrazio Mr. Sodi.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sodi.